2 weeks ago, I got a boot on my car, so today I am at Austin City Hall to ask them to implement 3 policy changes that would make parking enforcement practices less exploitative and less predatory. Wish me luck. Okay, so I gave my little speech. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I am here today because, as Councilmember Zoe knows, my car was recently booted while I was delivering flyers in his district.
And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but can you state your name for the record?
Sophia Di Loretto Chetti.
Great, thank you.
I was gone for about the same amount of time that I'm allowed to sit here and speak today. The notice shows that I left at 5:09. The receipt shows I returned at 5:12. My car was unlocked, the keys were inside, the laptop was on the front seat, my sunroof was open. It was pretty obvious I wasn't going to be gone for long. But one space over, a young man sat in his car with a boot in the trunk waiting for someone like me to make a mistake so he could make a commission. When I called 311 to file a complaint, the person who helped me told me they received many similar frustrated calls. She explained sympathetically that as long as the signage requirements were met, these practices were technically within the law. That's when I realized it wasn't about me or the time that I spent there. Every system of rules creates incentives, and if those incentives reward exploitation, then immediate immobilization is what we're going to get. That's why I'm here today to ask you to consider 3 simple policy improvements that would make enforcement fairer and less predatory. Less than a week after the booting incident, I also received a parking ticket from the city itself. It was issued at 5:38 on a Monday when pay to park in the area ends at 6. Of course, that was my mistake to think enforcement wouldn't be swept in the final 30 minutes on a Monday night, but 2 small parking areas in the same week cost me $150, more than half the monthly food assistance that my father and I receive. For many people, including me, that is not discretionary spending. It's money that could have gone to local shops and restaurants downtown. As someone working remotely while launching a nonprofit, this means losing the ability to leave home to work from neighborhood coffee shops and participate in the local economy. When accessing downtown or university areas becomes financially risky for residents who don't have extra cash on hand, it changes who feels welcome to participate in those spaces. Last year, the city raised parking fees from $20 to $50. $20 felt like a reasonable reminder to follow the rules. $50 begins to feel a lot less like a reminder and more like a signal that certain people simply should not be downtown. Small procedural safeguards protect fairness while simply allowing enforcement to do their job. So here's what I'm proposing. A 10 to 15-minute observation period before a vehicle can be booted, a warning notice for first-time offenders on a property, a reasonable boot fee removal of $75 to match the city's own parking structure fees. You can see from the handouts I provided that other cities already do this, including San Antonio. Cities across the country regulate private booting not by banning enforcement, but by requiring reasonable waiting periods and procedural safeguards. They protect property owners' rights while also protecting residents and visitors from predatory enforcement practices. Small adjustments like these improve fairness, reduce conflict, and build trust in our local systems. All I ask is that Council will consider directing staff to review these examples and explore whether Austin can adopt similar safeguards. Thank you for your time. I'd also like to thank the 311 employee who took my call. She told me how difficult it is to take calls from residents who feel taken advantage of, knowing there's very little she can offer because these practices are technically within the law. I promised her that I would come here today and try to fix that.
We appreciate you being here. Thank you.
And the city manager came up to me afterwards and asked to take a meeting and invited over the assistant city manager who handles transportation. And apparently they're doing a bunch of studies right now, like curb studies, and they invited me to come to their next public transportation meeting and talk to them about my ideas. So that's what we get. Use your civic power, people.